It's another Tuesday here inside of Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Derek Young joins me, Matt Hall, from K-StateOnline after another K-State press conference. The Wildcats will face Oklahoma and Norman this week. Let's get right to a quote, and then I'll talk to Derek because he's really interesting anyway. Dalton Schoen was asked if this game feels at all like Oklahoma State last year in Stillwater, and how big of a test they expect to see from the Sooners in Norman.
That was one of the first things I thought of how we were 20-some point underdogs there last year, and we went in and played a great game. So that's obviously something we're going to try to repeat. And at the end of the day, I think if we just go out there and execute and play our kind of football, we can play with anybody. It's definitely a good challenge. I feel like to us we kind of take it as a sign of disrespect. We want to go out there and show people we're better than that. But it's a great challenge to go into Norman and play a great team like OU.
Derek, obviously you remember K-State went down to Stillwater late last year, a big underdog, and really put it on Oklahoma State. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Yep.
What can you see leading into this game that's perhaps similar to that contest, and what's different about this Oklahoma team than they saw at Oklahoma State last year?
I think this Oklahoma team is probably a little bit more explosive, even if they do not have Trey Sermon. We know they won't have Rodney Anderson, but Kyler Murray just makes them a little bit more dynamic than we saw from Oklahoma State. They could throw the ball. They had was it Mason Rudolph at quarterback? Yep. So that was just kind of formulated a different offense, and Oklahoma more on the big play. What's the similar about it, though, is 24-point underdogs.
Right.
You're not expected to win. You're expected to get blown out, so that's probably the most identical thing between the two games.
A couple of health notes I'll ask your opinion on from what Bill Snyder said today. Alex Delton has not played since the first half against Texas. Dalton Schoen missed the Oklahoma State win. Bill Snyder said Alex Delton was getting closer, and I think he thought Schoen would likely be back. What are you hearing on those guys, and what do you expect to see from either Alex Delton or Dalton Schoen this weekend?
Yeah, just hearing Bill Snyder say Alex Delton's close kind of makes me think that he won't play, because I think he's used that language almost every time the player hasn't played, and I think if he was even considering playing him, he would have just come out and said it. And like you said earlier, it'd be more about gamesmanship than anything. And in terms of Dalton Schoen, we saw him today. He was actually available to the media, so I think we'll see him on Saturday.
This Oklahoma defense, I think, played pretty well last week, the first week after Mike Stoops. I want to say they gave up 275 yards and just 20 points. 7 came on a kick return to TCU, so maybe a little bit better unit. How important is it going to be for K-State's offense to, I don't want to say play a perfect game, but really play well against that defense and keep their defense off the field against Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown and company?
Yeah, I know we talked about how the limiting possessions and keeping your defense off the field, you're not getting any more possessions than the other team, so there's not a huge advantage. But I think when you're the inferior opponent and you're trying to muddy this game up, then if you're Kansas State, you probably do want to limit the possessions and limit the damage that Oklahoma can do on that side of the ball. So I like the fact that you use Alex Barnes the way you have been. He's ran for 430 yards the last 2 games. Kind of run with that well. Keep going, go back to it, and hope for the best.
That's going to wrap it up for us today. We will be in Kansas City tomorrow for Big 12 basketball media days, and of course we'll be in Norman on Saturday. Keep it locked into KSO to read more from Derek Young, see some videos from Grant Flanders. For K-StateOnline, I'm Matt Hall. Tell your friends.